grow up believing that 65 is a magic number, you know, the finish line where you finally get to walk away from work and start enjoying your life. This came up recently with a client. He said to me, come on, it can't be that bad to retire at 65. That's when everyone does it. So what's the issue? Now, let me pause here and affirm some honesty. For some people, the math really doesn't work out. If you haven't saved enough, if debt is hanging over you, or if you simply don't have the financial margin yet, waiting might be the only responsible choice. I acknowledge that. But here's what I've seen again and again. For many people, money isn't the real barrier. The math could work, but fear of the unknown gets disguised as a financial excuse. It sounds rational, but underneath is often hesitation about change or purpose or identity. In other words, a reason that doesn't really make sense once you dig into it. And that's where the danger creeps in, because here's the scary truth. There's a hidden danger waiting for you at age 65, and it's one that could completely derail the retirement you've been planning for and rob you of the life you've worked your whole career to enjoy. This is a trap most people fall into. They plan for money, but they don't plan for time. And by the time they realize it, it's too late. In this video, I'm going to reveal what this hidden danger actually is and why so few people see it coming. The shocking data on healthy life expectancy and how it affects your retirement plans. And last but not least, some practical steps you can take right now to retire earlier while you still have the health, freedom, and energy to truly enjoy it. But first, let me quickly introduce myself. I'm Daryl Rosen, host of the Retirement Guide channel and founder of Securement Wealth. For years, I've helped people plan retirements that feel secure and meaningful. But here's the truth. As I approach 60 myself, I find myself asking the same questions I ask my clients. Do I have enough? Am I using my time wisely? And most of all, what does the next chapter really look like? And let me tell you, life has a way of answering those questions for you, whether you're ready or not. Just 6 months ago, I had a full knee replacement. One day I was moving through life. The next day I was sidelined. Energy gone, mobility shot, relying on others to just get through the basics. Now, I've recovered, but the experience, it shook me to the core. It reminded me that our bodies don't care about our calendars. Health doesn't wait politely until you hit 65. It shows up, and when it does, it takes things off the table before you're ready. Reason number one is your health won't wait. I have to tell you that I'm stunned how so many people plan as if their health will hold steady until retirement. But the reality is that bodies, they don't follow the spreadsheets. You know the statistics about how many people are going to need long-term care. That's down the line. But a lot of people have chronic conditions as they enter retirement from 60 on, sometimes earlier. Fidelity, they say you're going to need $315,000 just for healthcare in retirement, which doesn't even include that long-term care component. So here's the bottom line. If you wait until 65, you could be stepping into retirement right as your health starts to decline. And that means fewer of these go-go years, the active, adventurous years where you can travel, hike, or really do whatever you want, including chase your grandkids around Disney, if you can catch them. Here's a practical step. Don't just plan financially for retirement at 65. Plan physically for retirement at 60. Get all those screenings, start the exercise habits, set the goals that let you use your healthiest years for the things that matter most. Here's a question. If your doctor gave you a guarantee of 5 healthy, active years starting today, what's the very first thing you'd want to do with those years? Drop it in the comments. Your answer might spark someone else's vision. The second reason not to wait till 65 is time is the one asset you can't replace. The truth is you can always earn more money. You can't earn more time. And every year you work past the point where you could retire, you're making a trade of sorts. You're giving up one of your healthiest, most energetic years in exchange for what? A slightly bigger balance in your 401k? Don't get me wrong, more money is useful, but money is just a tool. Time is the actual currency of all of our lives. And studies, they show that happiness in retirement often peaks in the early years. The Center for Retirement Research at Boston College, they found that retirees report the greatest life satisfaction in their late 60s, right when many people are just stepping into retirement at 65. If you delay, you risk missing those prime years altogether. Quick story, a client of mine, let's call him Mark, he worked until 67 because he thought just 2 more years and I'll really be set. But 6 months after retiring, he was diagnosed with Parkinson's. His dreams of traveling with his wife vanished. I know he told me, I wish I had stopped at 62. I wanted to stop at 62. I had the money, I just didn't have the courage to do so. And this hits me hard, and it's a reminder if you're financially able to retire earlier, waiting can cost you the most precious thing you've got. So here's a step for you. Run a time trade-off exercise. Write down what you're actually giving up by working another year. Is it a family trip or coaching your grandkids' soccer team, hiking a trail while your knees are still strong? A sore subject for me. When you put real names and experiences on the line, the just one more year argument doesn't really feel so harmless anymore. The third reason is the identity crisis trap. Here's a sneaky trap awaiting till 65, the identity crisis. For decades, you've been the teacher, the engineer, the business owner, the nurse. Work has been your anchor, where your friends are, where your structure comes from, where you feel useful. But if you hold on to that identity until 65, you hold on to it too long, then drop it cold turkey, that's a shock to the whole system. I have watched people unravel in retirement, not because they lacked money, but because they lacked purpose. One study from Harvard showed that people without a strong sense of purpose in retirement were more than twice as likely to struggle with depression while they were retired, twice as likely. And the depression itself raises risks for heart disease and other illnesses. So here's why retiring earlier can help. If you transition out of full-time work at, say, 62, you have the energy to build a new identity. Maybe that's volunteering, maybe it's mentoring, could be anything. Maybe it's a part-time passion type business. By 65, you're not clinging to this old identity anymore. You're thriving in the new one. Waiting until 65 can lock you into work as your whole identity. And when that ends, the crash can be brutal. Retiring earlier gives you the time and energy to rediscover who you are outside the office. So here's a practical step for you. While you're still working, start building identity outside of work. Join a volunteer project, or like I said earlier, mentor somebody. Take the woodworking class you've always been curious about. Not me, not good at that stuff. These aren't hobbies, they're bridges. They give you something real to step into once you step out of work. So your purpose isn't tied only to a paycheck. If someone asked you at a party, so what do you do? And you couldn't answer with your job, what would you say? Reason number 4 as to why it's a mistake to retire at 65 is what we call the money mirage. Here's the financial trap awaiting till 65, thinking you'd need just a little bit more. I've heard this line so many times. If I could just get to $1 million, if I could just get to this number or that number, I'll be set. Then it's 1.2 million, then 1.5, and the target keeps moving. Before you know it, you've worked yourself right past your healthiest years. Morgan Housel says it beautifully in The Psychology of Money, just about the best book that's ever written. Wealth is not about having more, it's about wanting less. If your definition of enough keeps shifting, you'll never feel safe to retire. That's the money mirage. So let me give you an example. A client of mine, Steve, sold his business at 64. He had more than enough to retire comfortably, but he couldn't stop obsessing over the market. He was constantly refreshing his account, terrified of losing what he had. He ended up working 2 more years out of fear. By that time, his energy was gone, and he told me I should have quit when I sold the business. I would have had 2 great years with my grandchildren. So here's the lesson. Don't let the goalposts keep moving. Enough is not a number. It's a decision, and enough can be good enough. Your practical step is define enough for yourself and lock it in. Write it down. Not a survey number, not your neighbor's balance, your lifestyle, your must-haves, and the baseline that lets you sleep at night. Then when you hit it, resist the temptation to shift the goalposts. Remember what Morgan Housel wrote. Wealth isn't about having more. It's about wanting less. By freezing your definition of enough, you free yourself to actually live your life. And the last reason is the myth of 65 as normal, as some kind of magical age. It's arbitrary. Yes, Medicare eligibility kicks in at 65, but aside from that, there's nothing special about it. Social Security lets you claim as early as 62. Full retirement age for many people is 66 or 67. Some people wait till 70. And the truth is that the very concept of 65 as a retirement age dates back to when life expectancy was much shorter. Here's a stat that always blows my mind. When Social Security was created in 1935, average life expectancy was 61. In other words, the government never expected most people to even reach 65. Fast forward to today, and if you're 65, chances are you'll live into your 80s, maybe your 90s. That means retiring at 65 could leave you with 25 or 30 years of retirement. So here's the danger. People treat this 65 like the finish line, but it's just a number, and it was never meant to define your life. So here's a practical step. Test drive earlier retirement ages in your plan. Run the numbers at 62, 63, 64, 60. Ask yourself, what changes? What stays the same? Many people discover that the difference between retiring at 62 versus 65 is smaller than they ever thought. And often it's worth trading a slightly leaner budget for 3 extra years of freedom. So let me bring this home for you with a side-by-side story of 2 people, Mark and Linda. Both 62, both have about $1 million saved when they retire. Both are healthy and active and dreaming about retirement, but they make different choices. Mark says, I've saved enough. I want to enjoy these years while I'm healthy. So he retires. In the first year, and he and his wife take some bucket list trips. I think they went to Italy. He starts volunteering, leans into the kind of hobbies that give him purpose, like pickleball. Hope he doesn't get injured. By 65, he has less money than Linda, but more memories, more confidence, and a rhythm of life that excites him, keeps him going. Linda at 62 decides to work 3 more years for safety. By 64, stress and long hours, arthritis, all that stuff makes travel a lot harder for her. By 65, she has more money than Mark, but she looks at him and thinks he's already got 3 years of adventures under his belt. I'm just starting, and I'm already tired. The difference? Mark traded a little more money for time, health, and freedom. Linda traded health for a slightly bigger nest egg she may never fully use. So let's recap the 5 reasons waiting until 65 to retire is a mistake. Number 1, your health will not wait. Number 2, time is the one asset you cannot replace. Number 3, the identity crisis trap can rob you of purpose in retirement. Number 4, the money mirage keeps moving the goalposts. And number 5, the myth of 65 as normal is outdated and arbitrary. Here's a big takeaway. Retirement isn't about hitting an age or a number. It's about building a plan that gives you the freedom to step away when you're ready. And that's exactly what we do with the Securement Review. It's a flat fee, no sales pitch planning session where we look at your savings, your income, your expenses, your taxes, and your lifestyle goals. The goal is not to sell you products, is to give you clarity and confidence. So your first action step today is to ask yourself, am I waiting because I'm truly not ready or just because 65 is stuck in my head? If any of this hit home with you, make sure to subscribe so you can catch the next video. It's somewhere here on this screen. Drop a comment. Which of the 5 reasons resonated with you the most? I'd love to hear from you, because here's the truth. Retirement isn't about when you hit 65. It's about when you decide to start living the rest of your life. Thanks for watching.